let me say a special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio, whether it's 105.5 or 105.9. Good Tuesday morning. It's the 31st day of October within the year 2023. Good morning to those of you who are viewing us this morning via GBN TV. Whether you're viewing Channel 7, Channel 11, or Channel 20, good morning. Welcome. Well, let's say good morning also to our social media audience. Those of you via the YouTube channels, the Facebook page, those of you via GBN's webpage, gbn.gd. Good morning and welcome to another edition of To The Point here on GBN TV and Classic Radio. I'm your host, GT. I'll be with you this morning for the next hour. And on Tuesdays, you know, we do entertain, of course, the opposition here in Grenada. And this morning, we all do have someone always representing the opposition here in Grenada. And this morning, we have no other than former Prime Minister, Honorable Keith Mitchell. He's with us this morning, Dr. Keith Mitchell. We got that right. And he's also the leader of the opposition here in Grenada. Let's go over and say good morning to Dr. Mitchell. Dr. Mitchell, good morning and welcome. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Good morning, my friend. Good morning to the listeners throughout the length and breadth of this spice country. Good morning to everybody, and good morning to your audience.
All right.
And it's a pleasure to be here this morning.
Oh, it's nice to have you. I'm not sure why I'm not getting a video of you on this morning. Yes, but that isn't corrected. Nice. Turn to my controller there this morning. Welcome, sir. Once again. Nice to have you on the program this morning. I think it's actually the second time I'm having you on the show for the year thus far, and happy that you agreed to be with us this morning once again. Let's kick the conversation off this morning. Lots to talk about. Grenada.
Let me say this to you. You're going to get tired of me in the future.
I hope that doesn't occur at all. Anyway, let's move on. Let's kick it off. The question on everyone's lips, of course, Dr. Mitchell, would you be leaning the NMP in the next general election? That's the question on everyone's lips.
No. I've spoken. The issue about Grenada right now, it's not about who is going to lead the NNP. The question is whether the NNP will be prepared to rescue this country, regardless of who will be leading the NNP. And that's the fundamental issue. There's almost a preoccupation in the minds of some people whether I will be doing it or not. I don't know that's the issue. The issue is whether the NNP, whether it's whoever it is leading it, is in fact prepared and ready to rescue the country from the disastrous economic and social problems confronting this country. That is it. And that to me is where this is all about. I'm not about this, not about myself, because I've been spent 22 years as Prime Minister of this country, and the legacy is there, it's intact. And of course, therefore, there is no preoccupation in my mind whether I want to be in government again or not. I'm a very happy man right now. I'm enjoying my life. I'm doing the things that I've not been able to do for years. So there is no problem as far as Keith Mitchell is concerned. I have one problem: my country. So anything I do going forward has to do what is best for Grenada, what is best for NNP in its position to rescue Grenada, Carriacou, and Peter Martin. That's my answer.
All right. Happy with that. Let's continue the conversation this morning. Now, as former Prime Minister, having served as Minister of Finance, what's your views on the present state of the economy, the potential challenges, and the performance of the 2023 budget? Tell us about that.
Well, let's accept this first. One must recall, the present government came in and boasted that they met a pregnant treasury. Okay? In other words, they were in fact saying, unlike what they were saying before they came in, that the NNP literally had managed this country because jobs were being created. We had a tremendous level of activities with respect to opportunities for the poor and vulnerable in the society. There was serious economic activity. Small businesses were growing in the country. The business community as a whole were expanding. Jobs were being created and so on under the new National Party's government. So there was quite a lot. There were activities on many fronts in this country. There was a feeling that we are going forward as a nation. We are being respected regionally and internationally. Grenada led the small states forum for years, and that's why we were positioned to receive grant support from the Green Climate Fund. We were able to get a Grenadian at the top level appointment in the United Nations, and as far as the green climate issue is concerned. So the country has been respected in every sense of the word. But what you have today, we have a failed economic system in our country. Everywhere you go, my brother, I listened to the last parliament where a member of the government saying, things nice, how things good in the country, and how unemployment has dropped to 11%. This is a fake thing. You know what some of us have to understand? You could tell lies to people. You could come up with your own fake numbers. But it's not what you say, it's how the people feel. An economy. It's not what somebody writes on a piece of paper or some professor from some state writes something. It's about the feeling of the country. So if you go to any part of Grenada, you see the emptiness in activities right through the country. You see it, you travel any part of the country, places that used to be buzzing with activity on an afternoon or evening time. It's like closed down. It's like ghost town in every single area. So I don't know where these guys are living. Where are the members of this government? But it appears that they're living in the sky because they're never here. They're enjoying life. And because they're enjoying life, they feel that everybody else is supposed to be enjoying life too. So they're failed. You have a situation in the country, my brother. The cost of living. This is crazy. People can't survive. I wonder how poor people, the people who from the low income bracket, people in general in the country are balling. But the poor people are the ones that will feel the pain more than anybody else, because those of us who are in a position to help ourselves, when we go to the shops to shop, we might notice the increase and we say, Lord, this is that increase is too enormous. But we will still buy it because we have the resources. We have the fallback cash to be able to do what we want to do. But the poor man does not have. I know it as a parliamentary representative and as a political leader of the NMP. Whenever people are calling now, when they come in to ask to buy food, to get food. Before, when we were in government, they come to ask about specific plans, maybe healthcare services, maybe having the children to go to school, university, and so on, additional scholarships. These were the issues. Now it's about to buy food, to get transport money to send the kids to school, to get transport support money to be able to to pay a meal for the kids to go to school. You hear the teachers in all schools bawling. They say when the NNP, they were getting enormous amount of materials to cook for whatever number of children. Today, they're getting a little bit and can't feed it, the quantity of persons. That is what they're saying. And when the teachers are saying it, it's well known that most teachers did not support the New National Party. But whether they supported the NNP or not, they are in fact saying the situation is extremely bad. So we have a serious situation confronting this country. And if you can't feel it, it's because you really do not understand what is taking place, because you're not around, you're not on the ground. You're in the sky, as I said before, and that's why some of the problems that emanating. This government is not showing any care, any empathy, any love for the people in the country as a whole, and that's the fundamental problem. So I'm making the point. We're in a bad situation. And as I said, you don't have to listen to somebody calling himself an economist or a mathematician or whatever it is, and a high-powered intellectual, and say to you, that is what's happening. To hell with your intellectualism. What I'm feeling is on the ground. I am not able to take care of my kids. I'm not able to get proper medical care. The situation in the hospital service is extremely poor. It's like there is nobody manning the shop. in the healthcare system in the country. And I'm not saying that the healthcare was great under NNP. Throughout successive governments, there have been a problem with healthcare. But basic medicine, basic medication, basic services, no, we have a major problem confronting us.
Let me also ask you this, Dr. Mitchell. How do you view the general atmosphere in Grenada from where you sit as opposition leader?
Well, I could tell you, people are very frustrated with the leadership of the country that they have. And when I say leadership, I don't mean one person, because there is that perception that it's only the Prime Minister you're talking about it open. All and sundry, because they are all leaders in their own right. People are disappointed. Many people, after being what they perceive to be tired of the NNP, while they were relatively happy with their lives and they were doing businesses and doing things for themselves and their family, and that they had opportunities, many people want to change because they felt the NNP was there so long. Keith Mitchell being Prime Minister for 23 years, time for him to rest, time for him to go, he's old, all kinds of stuff. So they made a change in something new. What is happening now is they realize there is tremendous disappointment because the promises that were made to them are not being fulfilled. And you recall the promises that were made to them? You recall them? The promises? You remember they told the nation that contract work is illegal? You remember that? I didn't say it. Those who say it must own up. They say there will be a parallel public service. Should be no parallel public service, and therefore they're going to hire all the people that are working temporary, will be permanent. They attack the seed program and say we are not providing enough for the seed persons that need help. And they said the World Bank, and they quoted the World Bank, that 450 was not enough. What did they do when they came in? Instead of adding to the number they said to what we had and to the one they proposed as the first step to buy another 150, they subtracted 150. So that a whole group of people are disappointed with this. You remember the whole issue of telling people, look, we have more contract work today than we ever had in this country. Simply because how could you tell people, and especially if you are somebody that has basic common sense or who understand what is taking place, to tell people that contract work is illegal, when all over the world you have contract work. In fact, the world is moving in that direction of services. People are setting up little companies and providing service to government, the private sector, and to different persons. And to tell them, because you want votes, so you will say anything to get votes. These were some of the conditions that we saw, and all these big disappointment in the country. So, my friend, to sum it up, Keith Mitchell is not just speaking. I'm not speaking for myself because I'm not the one going through the pain. Because I can't withstand the present economic situation in the country as an individual, and I know a number of people can. But it's the average man sitting outside it whose belly is hurting. That is what I'm concerned about. And that's my only concern right now. If the government was performing, I would have no problem in them. I would still represent my party appropriately and score political points that I see fit. But I wouldn't be here telling you that this is bad and this is bad and this is in the economic situation. I'd be happy for those persons who are better off and improving themselves. But the fact is, this is not the case. And although some people don't want me to say it, and of course, as you say, they're ready to jump on you. The dogs are ready to bark, so to speak, as if you have no right to speak. And that we must have no right to be in Parliament. We must not be given chance to express our views. This is the atmosphere in the country, like if we live in a revolutionary period. This is not a revolution. And therefore, they will not be able to stop me from speaking. They will not be able to stop the people from expressing their views. And while they are thin-skinned and feeling they're little gods in the country, People are going to express themselves. And if they don't want it, they should not go in the fire. If you know that you're thin-skinned, if you know you don't like to hear people criticize you, if you don't like to know certain things about you get known in the country, then don't go into politics. Do not go and ask people for votes to serve them. But if you accept it and you campaign for it, do not now come and start bawling and ready to attack people and to say all sorts of unfair attacks on people all over the place because people express themselves. They will get more attacks. The more they attack people, is more attacks they're going to get. The more they get at Keith Mitchell and others like me, is the more I come at them. And they should know my history. You don't attack me and believe that you could frighten me. That is the worst thing you can do. My history is clear. Almost 40 years of representation in politics and so on. And I had to deal with people of high level of competence, people who had experience in government. And I was able to stand up and deal with appropriately with my views and not back away. So what we have now is a lot of immaturity, inexperience, some little thin gods that want people to just duck and hide and say what they want them to say. This country would never be like that.
All right. Dr. Mitchell, let me ask you this question before we take our first break. Now, let's look back at look back 50 years. Has Grenada progressed at all, and in which noticeable areas would you say we have?
And I already said by the present Prime Minister that nothing happened in Grenada since 1982. In other words, the only revolution the revolution did anything in Grenada. When somebody in a responsible position would make a statement like this, either is ignorant or is deliberately trying to skew what has happened in the country. The fact is, my friend, in 1983-84, when the NNP came in the government first time under Mr. Blaze, we only had 45% of the country with electricity. Most villages, including the same village that some of the members of government came from, did not have electricity. That's a fact. And we didn't borrow money. We did not go and have outside forces come. The company themselves, under leadership, the leadership of Gregory Boyne at the electricity services and other members of the team worked. And by the time 5 years later, 95% of the country were electrified. Every week we are opening lights around the country, all over the country. So that was massive transformation. When they're talking transformation, that transformed the country. We had a telephone system that was archaic. The PRG invested in a telephone system from East Germany, which was old-fashioned. This had to be dumped. We were the first country in the OECS and in the Caribbean who installed a digital telephone system in Grenada. And Carriacou was the first that benefited because Mr. Blaze was Prime Minister at the time, and I was Minister of Works. So what is happening? I led the negotiations, and this is not about me, I'm saying I led it because that's a fact, for the transformation of telecommunications in the OECS, to liberalize telecommunications. And I remember some members of the unions were against me, saying that workers in cable and others lose jobs and people are going to lose jobs. Today, the telecommunication, because of those initiatives, that telecommunication cost has been reduced tremendously. Additional companies were created. We have more jobs in the field of communication than we ever before. That is massive transformation. The road network, almost every road in the country was bad. We had to build roads right through Grenada, Carriacou, Peter Martinique, right through. We were able to do so. We still have roads to be done. So because we can't finish everything overnight, it takes time. But the massive road network around the country, the New National Party it was the one leading that process. The water, my own home, I was minister responsible for Nawasa and minister responsible for public utilities. My own home in Apel as minister responsible. We're not having constant supply of water. We used to get water for 3 months of the year. And that's sometimes when I was minister, what I had to go to St. George's, a couple of buckets to buy water to come to bathe. I'm not buy, sorry, to carry water from friends' home, to come up to Happy Hill and bathe as a minister for water. Today, all of the places, water all over the place. We transform Nawasa in every respect. So basic fundamental services, and I could go into all other areas, whether it's education, the transformation education, whether it's healthcare services. We did a lot of work in transforming this country. So one coming in, some of them weren't even born yet when these things were happening. Some of them might have been 4 and 5 years. And to come and say now, to say that nothing in this country happened. So I'm here now. I'm Jesus Christ. I just arrived on the scene, and I would bring what nobody else has done in this country. I will transform Grenada. And in 1.5 years so far, what the transformation has been: travel. They're enjoying themselves. That's the transformation. They talk about capital project. The only capital project this government has is capital project for traveling and enjoying themselves. Gala all over the world. Every week there's another gala in another part of the world. They're not here feeling the pain of the people in this country. Gala. While people suffering, they're fetting. And that is what we have in this country. So there's tremendous disappointment. When I talk like this, I know they get vexed, but these are facts. And I'm saying it because I know the people hearing it and the people believe it. So I don't care what they think. I really couldn't care. And I will continue to speak like this because I think it's fundamental to rescuing this country and going forward. Now, if they change course, all power to them. If they understand what they're doing is fundamentally flawed and that the country requires a change, because they have some time, but I don't know, time is running out, my friend.
All right. We were due for a break, but I think I'm going to forego it for a minute and get this question in, because this is a pretty topical question that I have to ask, What's your thoughts on the low-income housing your administration initiated? And are there really low-income housing? Or what was the NMP administration plans and distribution?
This government has it seems there's one of the description you can give this government, that they seem to be operating on lies. They seem to feel they can lie about everything. Lies have been one of the order of the day. I listened to a minister in government, the Ministry of Government Business, stood up in Parliament and tell the most blatant lie that I've heard for a long time. That there was no agreement for 2,000 houses for Grenada. I mean, I know sometimes they might hide documents and always saying they don't see certain things, documents, but that's not a joke. This is a serious, serious statement of lies. Because myself, the foreign minister then, the late Evan Memorandum, and a delegation of private persons went to China in 2004, 2005 and negotiated for 2,000 houses. 2,000 houses. The Chinese were felt under pressure, and I insisted unless they give 2,000, I'm leaving and going back to Grenada. They signed on to 2,000 houses. In 2008, when the NDC came into government, the NDC said, well, look, they don't want 2,000 houses. I couldn't believe this. They want 1,000. So the Chinese would have been very glad, and they want the rest of the money for the 1,000 to given in other areas, but the other areas did not come. When we came back in government in 2013, I got the Chinese government back and I said to them, I want the original 2,000 houses. But let me add further. My brother, listen. We made it clear that many people in the country are able to build their own homes, whatever level it is. Somebody has a $60,000, $70,000 cash available and they can go to the bank and raise that with family and friends, giving support. They can build a nice little thing for themselves. That was happening in the country long before NNP, long before anybody. People were doing a lot of community things, helping each other to build a home, or to fix their homes and so on. We said the banks were available and they were liquid. So therefore, those who can qualify for loans should go. What I want is low-income houses for those who cannot qualify. Those who cannot qualify for bank loans. We insisted, and that was a condition, that the houses are basically given as a grant to the country. A grant to the country. So these houses were meant for people who would not normally qualify for loans from a bank. And we've had 2,000 of those. And I'm shocked that this government, and in fact, the government that made this was a government that had 15 seats. But this government is behaving like we, NNP of the time we had 15 seats or in government, that we should not have been in government. And therefore, everything we have done, they try to undo it, to say that is what they want. That was negotiated by the government of the day, who had legitimate authority from the people of Grenada with 15 seats in the parliament of the country. And it was supposed to meant to serve the poor people. So when I hear this nonsense about taking this house,
we seem to have lost our connection there.
and if they don't pay it, that is a fact. They have to pay for it. And many of these people are not able to, some of them right now with the situation, they're not even able to buy food. More to talk about houses. So what you're talking about, I understand they were saying, oh, the houses then was bare, they didn't have anything in it, and they put all this other stuff. People are very innovative. And it must be clear to them, when they were criticizing how the houses were, many of the houses were built while their NDC was in office. They were in office when many of these houses were built. So if the NDC felt that the houses should not be given in the form they are now saying, then they should have done something. So don't blame NNP by itself. And in any event, you give a man a house, even if it was not in the most lucrative way that you want to see a house given to an individual. The fact is, it was grant given to the people. They will get, some of them will get their family, their friends, and to help to do things that they want to do. Instead of telling them, I'm fixing it up for you, putting all kind of niceties, and you have to pay, and go to the bank and get a loan when they would not qualify. You know who's going to get these houses? Those who already are in a position. So you have people who are coming to us when I was in government, people who are living abroad and coming to me and ask me, they would like to get a house for the sister living in New York or London or someplace. You know, I'm not saying they should, some of them shouldn't qualify, because not everybody out there are doing well. But that was not the priority for the country. Those who are already here, who are living under the conditions that they have, and they are not able to have a proper home. That is what we were talking about. So I am amazed, and I'm saying to you, I don't know how they're going about this, but there's going to be a massive amount of opposition. They're going to decide to change this, the formula and the understanding and the process for distribution of houses, because they're in power now. I have power, I can do what I want. You know, that's the attitude of this government. And I'm simply saying that is a fundamentally flawed process.
All right. And
that the people will not stand for this, my friend. So I'm making it clear that they are lying about that statement that there was only 1,000 hours, and they should really apologize to the people of Grenada.
Dr. Mitchell, we drew for a break. Let's take that break. We're coming back, folks, to our listeners and viewers. We'll be right back after the break with more conversation with the opposition leader, on with Dr. Keith Mitchell. We're coming right back.
Coming up on Caribbean Medical, breast cancer.
And millions of women are every year surviving breast cancer and living full and complete lives.
So once again, promotion, prevention, these are areas that we need to strengthen on so that we can even get early detection, and then we can walk from there.
Caribbean Medical, right here on this station.
that's not how you cross the pedestrian crossing.
Really? One day I just woke up and I saw pedestrian crosswalks on the road. No one really showed me how to use them properly.
Well, this is how it's done. You never cross before doing these things. They might save your life. First, when you get to the crosswalk, you stop. You look left, you look right. If there's a vehicle coming, you put your hand out, making eye contact with the driver, indicating that you want to cross. And only when the vehicle comes to a complete stop, you quickly cross to the other side.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact. Wait for pedestrian to cross to the other side, then you happily continue on your journey. This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
On this episode of Caribbean Passport TV, we travel to St. Kitts and Nevis, visit a cocoa estate in Trinidad and Tobago, and listen to some steel pan music. And then we'll wind down with some paintings, right here on this station.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's to the point for today, Tuesday, the 31st, and it's the day of the week that we do entertain the opposition here in Grenada. And with us this morning, we have Dr. Keith Mitchell, the leader of the opposition. He's here with us. Dr. Mitchell, good morning once again, and welcome back.
Yeah, good to be back.
Dr. Mitchell, I do have another question that I don't know if you mind weighing in on this one in terms of with the celebrations committee and Heroes Day recognition on the 19th, the launch which will be taking place today. What's your take on that?
Well, all I can say to you that this whole approach of this government in everything is to politicize every single thing. That is just their views of how things should go. And I got a problem with the approach and the partisanship that they're imposing on every single institution and every single issue of national importance. So I have no problem with the need for having to celebrate our independence. In fact, I can admit to you that I was hoping that would be my swan song, the 50th celebration. I would have been in government, so I will not be, I don't think I should hide the fact that I was looking forward to being the Prime Minister at that time. But that fate is what it is, and of course, all fate is always in the hands of the Almighty. And in this case, the people of the country decided otherwise, so I am at peace with their decision. But I have a problem with the government approach in politicizing every single thing. Now, I must say this. Those who are talking about the PRG and the revolution, they don't know much about it. I was there. So I am not talking from book, what I heard, what I see, so I know. I am saying that I think raising that ancestor this time is not necessarily the best thing for the country. There are some people who are passionate about the revolution and what we should be doing. And there are some people who have goosebumps and have serious problem with some of the things that went on and the pain. You almost unearthing, raising a temperature again in this country. In other words, I am not sure the government approach without the massive support of the people was necessarily the right thing. So I'm not going to weigh in on any one side of the coin. I'm making a point that I've been in government. That would not have been my approach going forward. The attempt to start making as if there was this glorious revolution and this thing, and we were trying to name people who may have had difficulties in some of the things. There were some good things, but there were some horrible things too. And trying to minimize the contribution of others in the country. Eric Gary, yes, he was human and he made mistakes, but the fact is he led a revolution and in fact lifted the poor masses of the people who were living under colonial masters, working under the cocoa estate and the plantation for little of nothing. And he made tremendous sacrifice and bravery at his own personal risk to lead a revolution. Even my father was involved in that revolution. You know, so you can't forget that history. You cannot forget this, and do not minimize it. And those who try to make Gary as if he was a monster and just try to make others look like Jesus Christ and a saint, I have a problem with that. I have a problem. There's no saint. There was no saint in Grenada for the last how many years? But there are also people that made serious contribution, and it ought to be recognized. So I'm saying we need to be more balanced in the approach going forward, and I'm saying that I would not have attempted to glorify any revolution at this point in time, and to raise the perception that this was all good, and without clearly understanding the significance and how some people feel about what took place in that particular period. That's my view, and I've spoken. What I'm saying here today is similar to what I've said before. I think the approach, nothing is wrong. Give the revolution, the PRG credit for the NIS. Give them credit for the international airport. Give them credit for some of the initiative in education that they took. I have no difficulty with that. But also remember, there's a lot of pain that went through that particular period. And I'm not sure raising that issue now in the way they're raising it would have been best for this country at this time.
Of course, Dr. Mitchell, I also wanted to ask you this. You know, a number of times we have seen you or heard you protest, comment in Parliament procedures. What's your take in terms of what is taking place with that particular issue?
The parliamentary system has been undermined. Institutions have been undermined. I want to comment not just on Parliament, institutions. These guys are politicizing every institution in this country. And the Parliament is one of the most significant ones. It seems like when they come, they don't expect you to say anything. So they will do everything to shut up the opposition. Imagine, people get into Parliament. They take 40, 50 minutes to present a bill. Have tremendous significance to the country's future. And when you attempt to spend a few minutes, you're shut up. You have to sit down, and you know what has been happening. I think this present speaker is an embarrassment to the parliamentary system. The Prime Minister doesn't understand the system, so he wants to object to everything. You make a statement that the Prime Minister does not like because he considered it not relevant to the topic, he gets up. That's not a point of order. That's not a point of order, but the Speaker tolerates it. Because the Speaker seems that he's there to satisfy the whims and fancies of the present Prime Minister, who is thin-skinned and cannot sit down to hear something he's doing is not perfect. So this is the situation we're facing in this country. And you wonder what's going on. And I've said over and over, I'm father of the house. I didn't give myself that title. The Parliament gave that title to me. And I had it before on the previous government, who respected it and so on. But now, it's as if I should not exist. With all the years of experience, I could bring advice to this government, but they don't have time to listen to me. They have no time. You don't have to accept everything I say, but listen, and you would learn and improve yourselves. But that's not the attitude of this present government. So the Speaker is adamant. The Speaker must know, my friend, the Speaker is an umpire. You know, you have West Indies playing up in England. You might have a local West Indian umpire umpiring, especially in our technology. He must know that he's an umpire. He might want the West Indies to win, and he might have his feelings, but he cannot make decisions based on his feelings. He has to do what is right as an umpire. This present Speaker is not an umpire. The present Speaker is behaving that he has a job to satisfy the government of the day, and he will do whatever he has to. So, my friend, based on what I've seen, undermining of the parliamentary system, members of get-ups, whether it's Kate Lewis, Lynn Pierre, other members, Peter David, anybody that gets up and make a statement that the government is not ready to jump on you and attack you personally and otherwise, because you're not supposed to make a point, because they're all green, they have inexperience, they do not understand the system, they have never been around, they don't know what's going on in the past, and if they watch parliamentary operation in other countries, they'll understand what they're doing is fundamentally flawed. So they're undermining the system, but they're understanding other institutions. My friend, they're understanding the police force. The security of the country has been undermined. No one trusts the present leadership of the police force right now. And they don't want me to say this, but I'm just saying it. That's a fact. People don't know whether it's John Key's death or whoever. When they come with this thing, people don't believe this Nancy story they come up with. And when I say it, they vex with me. This is my view, and that's the view of a lot of people in this country. Because the commissioner of police who was there before was no partisan police commissioner. Now you bring a man back as advisor to the police force who hates everybody. In fact, I believe he hates himself. And he has no relationship with members of the force, so he come there victimizing police officers. So there is a serious moral problem within the police force at this particular time. People are very mad. The police officers, you will see it in the streets, you'll see that the police officers, many of them are going through the motion because people are being promoted, people are being transferred to different places based on the perception that you are a sympathizer to NNP or you are close to the former Prime Minister Keith Mitchell, which is unfortunate because many of these police officers that served me as security officer, I did not know them before. I did not know them. But I respected their roles, I respected that, and I gave them that understanding. So the police force has been undermined. The Public Service Commission has been undermined. The people who are appointed in the Public Service Commission are all, generally speaking, not all, because those appointed by the government, are all known to be clearly partisan people. So they're using the police force, the Public Service Commission, to harass some public servants who are perceived not to be supportive of the government. And therefore, the trade union that represent the public servant must stand up for what is right, because it is not fair to use the Public Service Commission. And I just ask my friend as I am speaking, I could say that the present public service is like a political institution right now, partisan to the government. Just check who are the members of the chairman of the Public Service Commission during my time in office. Check who they were. And not one of them could be identified as a close associate of the New National Party. Just check the history. I don't have time to go through all the names because I think that's easy to check. But check who is now there. These are people well known to be very partisan in the politics, attacking opposition, threatening to jail Keith Mitchell when they had an opportunity, and so on. These are the people that are there. How could you trust that? Public servants are being called in and say that I understand that you're giving out information and trying to frighten people and so on. And everything is about trying to sign document for in case you give out information. Why are you so preoccupied with trying to find out this? If you are doing good and you are doing what is right, then you don't need all these things. When in NNP time, man, they were the ones using public servants to get all kinds of information. But we never allow that to interfere with the whole governance of the country. So the PSC has been undermined, the public service has been undermined, the police force has been undermined, and the parliament of the country has been. There are several other institutions I can go to.
Dr. Mitchell, let me also ask you another question. Government has expressed concerns over the unavailability of documents relating to, the Grenada oil and gas. Can you shed some light? Was there any further development with gas expectations following the contract and so?
My friend, that's another lie. They like to lie. There are documents must be unavailable to the government. They're there. You cannot have all the documents that were signed. It's legal documents. We had the Attorney General there. The legal department was involved. The Ministry of Finance was involved, and so on. The Ministry of Energy was involved. I mean, how could you say that ships came in here and did drilling for oil and gas, and was able to identify tremendous gas in one well, and it takes a lot of money to drill one. And you know what happened during the COVID-19? A lot of the drilling all over the world stopped. That's affected the progression towards other drilling. And therefore the company was involved. They have information. They could call them and get information. That I am telling you, that's another lie. And the Prime Minister is good at this. Remember the Polish ambassador thing? You can forget that. When big statement was made that a Polish ambassador gave us sent $450,000 US for appointment, and only 290,000. Sorry, I made a mistake there. 290,000. And only 150 entered the treasury, as if the former government stole 140,000 US dollars, and maybe they share it up among the 17 or 18 cabinet members. Nonsense, another lie. The Prime Minister said that in a public statement, and he has asked to provide the cabinet conclusion that he talked about. Up to now, it can't come. And he has never apologized. He needs to apologize for lying to this nation, because he's turning out to be someone who tells lies at random. And that's the problem. How could you trust anyone who will go to the nation and tell the nation that a government stole 140,000 US dollars, and you have a cabinet conclusion to justify this? How could you trust anybody like this? How do you trust somebody that tells you contract work is illegal and they come in and have more contract work? How could you trust someone that tells you there is a parallel public service and that everybody will be permanent? How do you trust someone that tells you the seed program was badly managed and how people are this and that? Lot of lies. When in fact, they were thoroughness, they weren't perfect. No program of government could be said not to have a weakness. But to make a statement like that is extremely unfortunate. And to come and say that the government only had 1,000 houses, when in fact document was signed for 2,000 with a well-known government in the world. How could you say this? These are lies that the country must never be able to forget, because these are people in government and telling lies, and they want it to be impunity when they tell those lies. So I'm making the point, my friend, this issue of oil and gas is a big lie. There were documents that showed that we have tremendous opportunity. If we get the resources and they work with the company, they can get serious resources to be able to do more drilling, which would make it far more commercial. One well is not enough, although they spend hundreds of millions of dollars. We need more wells. And we show the potential for gas is quite enormous. And they have oil also. The data is there, the scientific study. And
all right, Dr. Mitchell, we need to take a break because we are almost strapped for time. We're going to take a break, and when we do come back, we're going to allow, of course, our listeners and viewers the opportunity to may ask you a question or two when we come back after this break. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
Coming up on Caribbean Medical, breast cancer.
And millions of women are every year surviving breast cancer and living full and complete lives.
So once again, promotion, prevention, these are areas that we need to strengthen on so that we can even get early detection, and then we can walk from there.
Caribbean Medical, right here on this station.
No, that's not how you cross the pedestrian crossing.
Really? One day I just woke up and I saw pedestrian crosswalks on the road. No one really showed me how to use them properly.
Well, this is how it's done. You never cross before doing these things. They might save your life. First, when you get to the crosswalk, you stop. You look left, you look right. If there's a vehicle coming, you put your hand out, making eye contact with the driver, indicating that you want to cross. And only when the vehicle comes to a complete stop, you quickly cross to the other side.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact. Wait for pedestrian to cross to the other side, then you happily continue on your journey. This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
On this episode of Caribbean Passport TV, we travel to St. Kitts and Nevis, visit a cocoa estate in Trinidad and Tobago, and listen to some steel pan music. And then we'll wind down with some paintings, right here on this station.
Mention the wing high, then you have things like man, you must come back, you know. We have the low power there.
It is kind of like the same man, and it's just different name for the same kind of thing.
And last but not least, I just want to say to all the men who saw me, call me, and ask for a piece of cake. I'm baking this weekend.
Join us Fridays at 8 on GBN Television, K105 FM, GBN's Facebook page, and YouTube channel for We Culture.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's to the point for today, Tuesday, the 31st of October, 2023. And with me this morning, I have Opposition Leader Dr. Keith Mitchell with me this morning. In this segment, Dr. Mitchell, we're going to, of course, invite our listening and viewing audience to calling. They may have a question or two that they may like to ask you. Let's go over to the phone line. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Telesford. Greetings and greetings to your guest, subject Keith Mitchell. I'd like to get the assurance that he can hear me.
Yes, he's heard you loud and clear. Go right ahead.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. Listen. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. Indeed, our quote-unquote democracy permits subject Keith Mitchell to get on as he did this morning, whether or not by omission or commission. Clearly, some of the things he said were lies and manipulation just the same. But I don't want to dwell on that. Individually, we will pick them out afterward. I want to ask him a question, and this has to do with the hydrocarbon reserves of our country. There is an institution in Norway, it's called EITI, the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative. This organization sets the framework and guidance for all forms of extraction, whether it be from the sea or of land, mining or oil and gas extraction globally. Grenada did not, and as a matter of fact, I put this way, Grenada contravened all that is established by that organization in our hydrocarbon exploration and exploitation. Question to Mr. Mitchell. Do you consider yourself responsible for violating international norms in the way you set up your administration? Let's put it this way, administration you led in the issuance of blocks to one company, 14 blocks, without a cent coming into the country. Do you consider yourself responsible for this inefficiency, incompetence, and to a certain level act of corruption? Okay. I trust my question is well understood. Thank you very much.
To answer. You're making a statement and you're not giving me.
Go ahead with your response, Dr. Mitchell.
You know, it's extremely unfortunate. This brother has been saying the same thing over and over. He has been pointed out that it's false. Everything was done in concert with international responsibilities and laws. That is why serious companies were expressing interest, and that's why the government of Trinidad and Tobago wanted to engage us going forward, because they said they have need for the gas. if we are able to get exploration done. So what the gentleman is saying is totally false. He has no data, a support document to support what he's saying. That is his feelings. But he has said it over and over. Every time I come on a program, the gentleman comes, and it's always, and that's why GBN has to worry about this. Why it is, every time you come on a program, the same people are the first set of callers. Something is not right with GBN. And it's communication. Not the host, I'm not blaming you. So something, why it is, these are the people that call every time the same voices, saying the same thing. The people have no opportunity to learn anything different. But welcome. I just heard the brother, and I said to him, totally false.
Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning, you're welcome.
Hi, good morning, GT, and good morning to Mr. Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell, I hear you mention many lies about this government, how they lie this and they lie that. Do you remember in 1995, you promised the Grenadian government that you will pay the public servant workers twice a month, and you tell us that it's only an NNP government that could do that, because the NDC will say too much of paperwork to do and they can do it, and you to do it. Mr. Mitchell, how much years now? Mr. Mitchell, I think you teach those people who are running this country now, you teach them how to lie, so that is the reason why you could know the line so much.
Let's get a response from Dr. Mitchell. Go ahead.
You want me to answer? First of all, I never promised that will be done. We said we'll explore it. We did precisely that, and we thought that it would have more problems than positive, than negative, than positive doing it. And we counseled against doing it. And what we know now, you can see the chaos that's going on because the system, some people are being paid late, some people have been paid not at all. And you see a whole chaos in the system because the government does not have the necessary bureaucracy and support system to support what they're doing. And therefore, they want to do this. If you can do this and the people are happy, all power. But I'm saying right now, the system is very chaotic. And I just want the sister to know that we did not say it will definitely be done. We said we will explore it. And if we could do it and done well, and it will help the activities in the country, then clearly it's a good thing to do. And we did warn and explain why we did not want to proceed, because we showed after all the evidence and came in what will happen if we go proceed. Then that is. So if that is the lie that the sister is talking about, I'm sorry, sister. But even if you consider a lie, that gives the present government the right to tell lies. I mean, sister, even if you support the government, NMP is not a perfect government. So even if Keith Mitchell did something wrong, you want to tell me that you have a right to do wrong too? And you came in because the people said they want to change, they're going to improve. So you should improve what we're doing. You shouldn't come and say, Keith Mitchell lie, so let me lie at will all over the place. This is nonsense, my sister. I'm sorry that you have identified yourself with that type of behavior.
Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning, you're welcome.
Good morning, Dr. Mitchell. I saw you in church on the 25th. We shook hands.
I saw you, my brother. I saw you, Terry. I thought
by now you stopped lying.
Looking nice, man. I'm glad for you.
Sitting down here and listening to you, Doc. It is unbelievable. I must put it to you. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. Because the lies that I've heard this morning, they go beyond the boundary line. You lie about Glen. You lie about oil and gas. You lie about FBI investigations coming to look into shrimp farm and chicken farm and all of that. Lie. You politicize every institution of government. And you say you have no political persons on.
You're not asking a question. You're attacking me. You're not asking a question.
No. I'm just making some comments.
Remember, Terry, when you were in NNP, you were the one being accused by NDC of saying, how could I have a man who's very corrupt around me, doing the same NDC that you're now associated with. But I'm happy for you.
I am the one asking the question.
I'm glad for you, my brother. brother. But I just say, when you're in your kingdom, remember me, my friend. Just remember me. Remember your brother.
Well, this is why I greeted you well at the church. I say, well, there is some change, and obviously the heart will change. But the things that I've heard you say this morning, they're just really, really outrageous. I would like to, if the host will permit.
Well, we are a bit strapped for time, Mr. Forrester, but I'll give you a couple minutes to make your comment.
It is simply because you did not give the public enough time. You invited the public 5 minutes before your close-off period, which is so unfair.
So, Mr. Forrester, but then you are now taking up extra time, so just go ahead with your comment, please.
Yeah. Just a quick comment on the housing situation. You know, folks in the past would have been paying rent forever and ever without owning a thing. This government was bold enough to say to people, pay $10 a day, which equates to $300 a month, and you will be the owner.
I guess we lost Mr. Forrester there for some reason. Dr. Mitchell, I'm not sure if you want to respond to anything Mr. Forrester said, and we're getting set to make a wrap for this morning.
I just think for poor Perry's doing his work, is getting what he wants from the government, what he thinks he deserves. So he's really preaching for the government, because he didn't say anything, he didn't ask me a question. It was all about attacks. And all I want to repeat, the same Terry Forrester we could get documents to show the attack of the NDC. They call Terry the most corrupt person in this country, and all kinds of things about him. Today he is the brave opponent of the same NDC, and Terry is clean as a whistle now. He's a nice boy, and I wish him well, and I am glad for him that he's happy. I notice his face is full and happy and so on, and I'm glad for him. I have no problem with this, Terry, and so I wish him well, my friends, and to say that I don't agree with the statement that he's making about the houses. It was clear, we negotiated it, and it should proceed, giving the people the houses as we had planned, and not burdening the people who come up with the level of income. Some of these people are not able to buy food. So I don't know what you're talking about, $300-400 a month and so on. What you're talking about, they are not able to buy food. And I think that's what I wanted. That's the final point I want to make as far as this is concerned.
Dr. Mitchell, any closing comments before we take a wrap for today?
Yes, I just want to make the point, but my brother, you're the host. One of the problems I have with your institution, JBN, whether it's beyond the headlines, whether it's to the point, every time you come on the program, look, we had 3 callers, 3 well-known hostile persons to NNP. So why you expect me to subject myself to the same set of callers? There was another one I normally hear. I don't hear him today because there's not enough time. 3 callers, 100% hostile person towards the New National Party and myself. I think GBN need to get their act together. I'm not afraid to say it. And that is why we are going to, my friend, because we have the problem in Parliament, because we have the problem even here on this program, we are going to the people, and hopefully every 2 weeks, with a special program. We start tomorrow night from 8:30, dealing with some of the issues. And the 3 members of the team will be there at different times. You will see different persons. So on the first session tomorrow evening, we will have myself. We'll be responding to a lot of the bills that were passed in Parliament and some of the implications, like the $100 million loan Saudi Arabia, which we did not need because we are getting grant support from the Green Climate Fund to do the same thing, my friend. So myself, former Minister Emmeline Pierre will be there, dealing with other issues, and former Minister of Youth, Kate Lewis, will also be there. These are the first session, and these are the 3 members who will be live on streaming live from 8:30 tomorrow evening on various things. Other members would be, the announcements have been made about the different media that would be involved in disseminating this information tomorrow evening. So once again, let me thank you, my brother. The host, I cannot blaming you for anything. I'm talking about the institution, because this is a historic thing. For the last 10, 15 years, every time I go on a program with GBN, whether it's beyond the headlines to the point, one set of people, I could even call before the program started, I could tell you who will be calling. That to me is certainly a problem. GBN need to get their act together.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. All the best for the rest of the day, sir. All the best. Hey, folks, that's what we take a wrap for To The Point for today, folks. Join us again for another edition. Those of you who contributed to today's program, I want to thank you also. And best wishes, all the best. That's what we take a wrap for today's program.